Let's go.
Hey there. So I'm going to do this video here. I've selected about 3 videos that I've taken off of TikTok. And we're going to talk a little bit about them because they've got some pretty strange ideas. So here's the first one. I'll just play the video and then we'll talk. Okay, so this first video, he has some pretty interesting ideas about the dinosaurs.
Interesting, and I think some of you might as well. Lizards, snakes, amphibians, and coral all continue to grow until they die. The scientific name for these creatures is indeterminate growers. This is a picture of a chameleon skeleton. This is a picture of a triceratops. That's a little stretch, right? But look at this next one. This is an iguana. And this is a Herrerasaurus. This is a mummified dinosaur. It's called a nodosaur. This is the close-up of the nodosaur. And this is a short-horned lizard. We know in the Bible that people lived over 900 years old. Is it possible that animals also lived a longer age? Is it possible that dinosaurs are indeterminate growth animals? Let me know your thoughts.
So he is saying that dinosaurs are just these indeterminate growers that have just gotten so big that we classify them as dinosaurs. The thing about indeterminate growers, like things like coral and lizards and things like that, when they die, they have a chance to fossilize, and then when we get those fossils, we can tell that they're indeterminate growers. We can see in their bones the stages of development and the growth, because growth I'm not a paleontologist, I'm not a doctor of any kind, of course. You can look this stuff up, but you can see the progression of the animal's growth in its bones. It's similar but not the same as the rings of a tree. You know, the more rings a tree has, the older the tree is. So yes, we can tell certain things by their bones, but dinosaurs did not start off very tiny and then grow to be as big as they were when they died. There's no evidence for that. Okay, so this next guy, he is talking about the age of the universe, and it's got some pretty interesting ideas about Adam. I'm talking about the biblical Adam, the first man. So let's listen to what he has to say.
How old is the universe? The physicists say the universe is about 13.8 billion years old. Now, when I point that out, I'm not saying that I believe that to be the case, because they change that from time to time.
Yeah, they change it from time to time because our understanding of the universe changes from time to time. So things change. That's the nature of science.
And there's great differences of opinion. And so I have to say I'm not a physicist, and I don't really have an opinion about how old it is.
That I find hard to believe. He clearly has an agenda. So he does believe how old, or he does think he knows how old the Earth is.
Now, the universe was made with age. This is something they don't take into account. It was made with age. In other words, even though I would agree in principle that there was a starting point and a termination point, I don't believe that it was created at that starting point, but rather that it was created somewhere in here, already in a state of expansion, if you would have it, already in a process of development. It was created with age.
So I'm just going to jump in here. He's saying that the universe may show to be 14.5 billion years old. It may show that it's actually that old, but it's not. It was created in the middle of its existence, so to speak. Like That's ridiculous. There's no evidence for that. There's no proof. You can't make a scientific claim or claim about science and then not have anything to back it up. That's just ridiculous. Do better.
The universe was made with age. I'll give you an example. When Adam was created, 10 minutes after he was created, if you brought in forensic psychologist, forensic botanist, to examine his body, they would have determined that he was, say, 28 years old. There wouldn't have been any doubt about it.
But we don't have a body to examine. We have nothing. There's no evidence that the biblical Adam actually ever existed. There's no evidence to support any of your argument.
He had all of his wisdom teeth. They had lost his baby teeth.
You assume, because you assume that he was created at the age of 28, therefore he would have gone through all of those developmental stages, and that's just the way that he was created. But you can't say that. He goes on to say, as you can see by the quote on his screen, or what he wants us to think is a quote, basically saying that implying that we have this information, we have this evidence of the biblical Adam's existence and stuff, and that's just completely wrong.
Come in. His teeth had some wear on them from the sand and the grit in the food that he had never eaten.
See what he says, that his teeth had wear on them. He's saying it in the past tense as if it's fact. It's not fact. There's no evidence that Adam existed. Like, you got to do better than this, buddy.
But would have eaten if he'd aged like that. His fingernails were not 6 or 8 inches long, but
why would they be?
They were short. They'd been trimmed. His hair wasn't down to his rear end. It was whatever it was.
Yeah, it was whatever it was, he says, as he's looking at a artist's rendering of the biblical Adam. So he's looking at a picture of an artist's interpretation of what he thinks Adam would have looked like. It's like the white Jesus. Same thing. Absolute nonsense.
And his skin was already suntanned. He wasn't created kind of bleached out so that he got burnt on his first day. So in other words, Adam was created to look and exist exactly like he would have if he'd have been living in that garden, born there and raised there for the past 28, 32 years, whatever it was.
He assumes. He's just assuming, assumption after assumption after assumption. Again, he has no evidence that the biblical Adam actually existed. And of course, we have absolutely no evidence of his body. We have no idea what he looked like. We don't know what his hair color was, his eye color, anything like that, because he's fiction. Sorry, he's just made up. Okay, so this guy, he's looking at the moon. I've advanced the clip just a little bit because he's got that annoying like Siri type over talking over him at the beginning. But he has some very interesting ideas about the moon, particularly how far away it is. Let's have a listen.
Globe people, that's the moon right there. And you see how the light is shining off those clouds? If that shit was really outer space, 27 billion light years away.
So that's his first mistake. 27 million light years away. Sorry, dude. You need to look up the distance to the moon. It's not measured in light years, first of all. Okay, so let's start with the basics.
It should be space lighted up between the clouds too, shouldn't it? It's dark out here.
So I just back that up. What did he have on the screen there?
Clouds too, shouldn't it?
Space should have light from the moon. Space should have light from the moon. I don't understand that. That's nonsense. Space should have light from the moon. You understand that in order for us to perceive light, it has to reflect off something. That is how we see light. Yeah, it's just it. He needs to do some real research.
It's dark out here. The clouds over there, too, you can't see them. But it's casting the goddamn shadow on these clouds right here. I think this right here is local, man. The moon.
No, the moon is not local. It orbits from the planet. I don't know the exact mileage, but it's I think it's like something like 250,000 miles. I think. Look it up, but it's definitely not light years, and it's definitely not local.
The moon and the sun has to be local. If that was the case, if it wasn't the case, outer space would be lit up. Let me know what y'all think.
Yeah, so that is what I think. That he doesn't know how light works. He doesn't know what a light year is. He doesn't really know anything about the moon at all. So, yeah. Thanks, buddy.